Jimmy Smith here with my breakdown of not only Bellator 220, UFC Fight Night 150. Interesting weekend all the way around. Before I get into that, really appreciate the comments about my dogs. I didn't expect that to be like a story. What happened was I had a lot of people asking me about 1FC, and I want to answer the question. Why don't you work for 1FC? This is why. You know, nothing wrong with 1FC. They're fantastic. You know, pit bulls are illegal in Singapore, so I couldn't bring them. I do appreciate all the positive comments by everybody and everything. One thing is that a lot of people said, you know, you made a good choice, good things are going to come to you. You have to be prepared to make a choice and bad things come to you. You have to be prepared when you jump off a cliff that no net is going to appear and you're going to break your legs. Can't break your arm, don't go to a jiu-jitsu tournament. You're hoping you don't break your arm. But if you can't live with that, don't do that. So I have to be prepared like I was, you know, with UFC. I signed a 1-year contract, and then the worst case scenario was at the end of 1 year, I don't have a job. That's exactly what happened. You know, as a full-time commentary gig, I had to be prepared to turn that down and suffer the consequences of that. That's the way it goes. You know, you can't think, oh, something good's going to happen. Maybe nothing good happens. But you made a choice. You got to live with it. You know, that's how an adult lives their life. So anyway, thank you very much. I appreciate that. So still have my dogs, and we'll see what the future holds. Anyway, back to last weekend's fights. Let's start with UFC. Roosevelt Roberts, excellent performance. Won a unanimous decision. I liked his speed. I liked his power. I liked his accuracy. Good combinations. You saw those things he's going to have to work on to get to that next level, to contendership. Stands really tall. Kind of hangs his chin out. Good combinations. Not the greatest defense in the world. Showed some vulnerabilities on the ground against a better submission guy. He might have been in trouble. But you saw the talent. You saw the potential. You saw the possibility moving forward of him doing good things in the division. So, great performance for him. Corey Sandhagen, John Lineker, great fight. Very close. Corey Sandhagen, funky, excited, enthusiastic, switched stance a lot. Unpredictable. I liked his kicks. I liked his range. I liked his combinations. And once again, that sense of enthusiasm while he was fighting. Like, he's thrilled to be in there. I love that. Lineker basically answered the jab with a lot of power punches, and they didn't really start connecting until later. If you can't get around the jab, it's a tough night. And he had a lot of trouble dealing with the jab of Sandhagen. So, strong finish. Almost had Sandhagen at the end with the punches and the guillotine. And, man, when that blood spurted out, I was like, he might be tapping this. Able to gut it out. Great. Big win for Sandhagen. Lineker, you still saw that he's an elite fighter, which is good. Both guys can do damage in the division. I don't think either guy was really, how can I put it, diminished because of the fight. Both guys looked great. Glover Teixeira with his Kutalaba. Man, Teixeira, I thought he had one more great fight in him. He had one more great performance. He had one more gritty shot to really do something, and I was right. He did it. Rear naked choke in the second round. After getting hammered. Rounds 1 and 2, he took some punches. And I thought the referee missed some stuff, got hit while he was down a couple times, and so he was frustrated too. And a lot of people don't understand, overcoming that frustration. Like, you know, you take a groin shot, the ref doesn't see it, or, you know, your call doesn't go your way. It can take you off your game. A veteran goes through that shit and just keeps fighting, and that's what he did. And that was a great veteran performance. Show that he's still dangerous, and if he gets you in good position, he'll take you out. I don't think he's still in contender status. Gatekeeper, taking on the hungry guys is probably where he's going to be for the time being. Even in a division that thin, he just, you know, he's lost some pep in his step at his age, which is understandable. It was great seeing him get a win. Mike Perry, Alex Oliveira. I thought this would be fight of the night, and could have been if Sandhagen and Lineker hadn't been so good. But I thought Oliveira would go to his ground game a bit more. He was just too content to stand and trade with Mike Perry, and it led to a really exciting fight. Both guys had their moments, but just Oliveira just couldn't handle the power of Mike Perry. Perry just hit harder. So in those exchanges, when you're in there throwing leather, not many people can just stand and trade punches with Mike Perry. The guy hits very, very hard. You got to out-slick him a little bit or threaten with the takedown a bit more, and he didn't do that. Exciting fight, but I thought bad tactical choices by Oliveira. Greg Hardy versus Dmitry Smolikov. I can't even begin. When Smolikov got out there, I thought he looked terrified. Immediately terrified. It was so bad that in post-fight, Dana White even said, it looks like we set the guy up. That sucks. Which I give him credit for. He didn't avoid it. He didn't pretend that Hardy looked great and all this stuff. He was really down on Smolyakov's performance. I thought he looked terrible. I thought he looked absolutely petrified, no offense at all. And that's what you can't do against a guy who say what you want about Greg Hardy. He's got physical talent. The guy's big, strong, and hits hard. Once that guy gets confidence, it's like a tidal wave coming at you. You have to derail him and make him question himself and his training and, God, am I really ready for this? If you stand there and you're a heavy bag with legs, which is what Smolyakov was, you're gonna hit you. And one thing Greg Hardy can do is hit hard. So I thought it was a terrible performance by Smolyakov. Not that Greg Hardy looked bad, but I think anybody would have looked good against a guy like that. It was a pathetic performance. Greg Hardy did what he was supposed to do. He went out there and threw big punches and he got a knockout. Great. But man, it was more that I just couldn't believe this dude got out there and fought as badly as he did, having won 9 fights previously. It looked pathetic. And credit to Dana White for pointing that out and not running from that. Awful. Anyway, Hermanson versus Sosa. Here's the issue that I had going into this fight. You know about the talent of Jacare. He's had trouble in his last few fights stringing together not just good fights back-to-back, but 15 good minutes in a fight. He's been up and down and inconsistent, and in the Gastelum fight, looked great for one round, ran out of gas, and had to come back and make it a close fight at the end, end up losing a decision. Against Yoel Romero, he starts too slowly and then has to come back and once again loses a decision. Against Chris Weidman, starts off slow, comes back, gets a knockout late, but not stringing together the 15 minutes you need to win fights at the level at which he's fighting. In this case, 25-minute fight, he couldn't string together 3 good rounds. Started off slow, ended up coming back toward the middle, and then faded at the end. On 2 judges' scorecards, it was a 1-round fight. He couldn't finish strong enough to win. I'm surprised we didn't see more double legs, more takedown attempts. It was Hermanson going for the takedowns late to ice rounds and staying comfortable with his ground and pound. Jacare never really sold out to see if he could get on top where he's most dangerous. The huge mistake in this fight to me was Hermanson had him hurt in the first round and went to the jiu-jitsu game. I think he could have knocked him out right there. Did he almost submit him? Yeah, but Jacare's so good. You could wake that guy up out of a coma, throw him on a jiu-jitsu mat with another black belt who's world-class, and he'll at least be competent. You have to understand that. You could hit Floyd Mayweather with a baseball bat, throw him in a ring, spin him around, and point him at somebody, and he'll at least be okay. He'll at least keep his hands up and move. He's been doing it his whole life. So you had Jacare rocked, and you take him exactly where he can go on instinct, which is defend submissions. That guillotine probably catches 9 out of 10 middleweights. Jacare is a world champion. Buried his chin, stepped over like you could see as a jiu-jitsu guy, when I was looking at it, he was making the little adjustments that get you out of those bad positions. And I'm like, he's not going to catch him. He's not going to catch him. Took his back, not going to catch him. He was making the little, you looked at his face and it was tough, but he's been doing this for years at the highest level. You're not going to catch him. So I thought Hermanson threw away the knockout early. Came back to win the fight. Credit to him. But I thought he could have won early if he had made the right decision. Stay away and hit. You get a guy like that rocked, it's like throwing a shark back in the water. It's going to swim. You can stab the thing 15 times. A shark's going to swim. It's been doing his whole life. So Jacare, you threw a shark back in the water. Right when you had him out of the water and hurt, you throw him back in the water. I'm going to finish him in the water. Don't do that. It's a shark. Anyway, great that he came back, but I thought he threw away the knockout. What's in the future for Hermanson? Contender status. He's up now amongst that, top 5, top 7 right now. Jacare, I hate to say this, I'm a huge Jacare fan. Probably the end of him as a contender. Not that he can't fight again. Not that there aren't guys he can beat. At 39, with the talent that's in front of him, almost all of them are younger. I just don't see him climbing his way through those bodies again, especially with the inconsistency. You need to be consistent to get a title shot. He hasn't been consistent in his last few fights. So incredibly talented, maybe the most talented guy in UFC history to never get a title shot. It's hard to look at more talented guys than that. On to Bellator. Pretty much what everybody expected, mostly from the main card. Gaston Bolanos gets a KO in the first round over Nathan Stolen. Okay, Phil Davis defeating Liam McGeary. I thought he'd win a decision. I thought he'd go to the ground a lot more. What was impressive to me is it was pretty much a stand-up battle. He held his own, 1 rounds, and then TKO'd him in the third. So same result that I thought was going to happen. I thought there'd just be a lot more ground and pound, a lot more takedown, a lot more leg kicks, chopping him down. He did use a leg kick very, very well, but no fear standing with Liam McGeary, who's very, very dangerous on the feet. And I was surprised we just didn't see more takedowns from Phil Davis. He didn't mix it up a lot more, but led to a very entertaining fight. And it could be a conscious choice on Phil Davis's part, like, hey, I'm going to kind of redefine myself a little bit more as a striker and give the fans what they want and maybe get that title shot. That would be my guess. But he looked great. Hats off to him. Benson Henderson, Adam Piccolotti, great fight. Absolutely great fight. Adam Piccolotti almost submits Benson Henderson in the first round, takes his back, has him in all kinds of trouble. Benson Henderson's going to Benson Henderson. You know, foot on the gas, never ran out of steam, and managed to come back in the latter 2 rounds and got a split decision. Very close fight, extremely entertaining. Loved it. Great fight. So it showed Benson Henderson still has a lot in the tank, can still beat the young, hungry guys. Adam Piccolotti showed he's just out of that contender status. I mean, he's right there with Benson Henderson, who's still a fringe contender. So great fight by both guys, man. Hats off to him. Alima versus Vito Arteaga. Vito came out putting it on Alima. I mean, really throwing great punches. You see Alima was kind of like, whoa, a little unprepared, stopping some takedowns. Alima got some takedowns, but Vito Arteaga was no chump on the ground, kept a closed guard, wouldn't let her get her submission game going, and then got on top and threw an elbow that would have sliced a cantaloupe in half. If you guys saw that, man, it was put a canyon right here between her eyes. Bad cut, they stopped it. So gutsy performance by Alima. That's what I like to see from a champion like Alima, is backed against the wall, things aren't going great, she finds a way to win. Up until that point, Alima had pretty much dominated all her fights. I don't remember her even really losing a round. Maybe had a couple tough rounds, but I can't remember her really being behind in a fight and having to come back and, you know, having that moment of, man, maybe I'm not ready for this, because she was getting hit. She was getting hit. Face was starting to swell up. Came back and won. So that kind of championship grit, I really appreciate. The problem is who she's going to fight next. I think Bellator needs to spend some money on some free agent talent, bring in somebody from Alima McFarlane, just because there aren't many people in the line, and you got a star in Alima, a star. Now, Rory MacDonald, John Fitch, majority draw. The fight was back and forth. Rory MacDonald landed the better strikes. John Fitch controlled a lot of the position. Pretty much what you would expect from a Rory MacDonald, John Fitch fight. Thought Rory would land better. Thought he would stop the takedown a little bit better. John Fitch is on top. He's going to control minutes. That's what the guy does. So it's an understandable draw. I didn't have a problem with it. But Rory MacDonald afterwards saying basically he doesn't know if his heart is still in it. That's very, very troubling. It's one of the problems with Bellator strategy with getting UFC fighters with a lot of years on them. You never know when that moment's coming, especially Rory MacDonald. My question coming in, war with Robbie Lawler, war with Douglas Lima, got beat up by Gegard Mousasi. You only have so many of those in you. You only have so many. You could say that about Benson Henderson. Benson Henderson didn't take those beatings. Had long, tough fights, but didn't take the kind of beatings Rory MacDonald has taken over his career in wins and losses. So, if you go back to the Carlos Condit fight, oh my God, same thing. It's an absolute beating. So whenever you're investing in someone like that, it's a great looking car with 200,000 miles on it. Yeah, but it's been serviced and this and that. 200,000 miles is 200,000 miles. You know, whenever you get a car with 200,000 miles, you never know if this is your last drive. And so Rory's saying, I don't know if I have the heart in the middle of a tournament where he's the champion and has to keep going. Like, you can't drop out in the middle of the tournament. You can, technically, I'm sure. But you don't want to. And it basically sets up Neiman Gracie. You know, Neiman, I'm sure, is watching that going, sweet. You know, we got Rory MacDonald. He doesn't know if he can still hurt somebody. He's going to have to hurt Neiman Gracie. And so there's blood in the water now. The champ has said, I don't know if I have the heart to keep doing this. Off a draw, not a loss. I don't think I've ever seen a fighter do that off a draw, off a fight that wasn't a loss. So the future is going to be interesting for Rory MacDonald, if he has one. If he has one. So we'll see how it goes. Fighting against Neiman Gracie, a tough up-and-comer who's going to love the fact that I'm facing a guy that might not want to hit me. We'll see what's up. Please subscribe, give it a like. Once again, appreciate all the positive comments. I've been showing them to my dogs, and they don't care. They just want to be fed. So anyway, but I appreciate it. Okay, thank you very much. Dogs over job anytime. That's me.